Let me see. And we are, I think we're live. Yes, we are live. Good morning, good morning, good morning. You all make me laugh, all of you who say, I can't wait to I hear Rosemary's voice. Are we live? Yes, we're live. So I'm not disappointing you. Hopefully we are. I do believe that we are live. It is Thursday morning, the 2nd of, no, gosh, wait a minute, 3rd of June, maybe. Anyway, we're into June. We're in the first week of June. How about that? That works, right? And of course, we are here with our show, The Spirit World Sees All, and they really, really do. They really, really, really do. So I do have a story for you, but before, yes, I know it's not a story. I know it's not a story time. I know this, but anyway, before we begin, I'd like to say good morning to Grey Eagle, who is, as I am, raring to go this morning. We are raring to go, and I would like to say good morning to Chris. Chris, good morning.
Good morning, Rosemary. Good morning, everyone.
Are you raring to go, Chris?
Absolutely.
Are you raring to go?
Let's do it.
Okay then. So, do we actually have anybody watching? I mean, just wait. No. Is there anybody there, Chris?
Yes, there are. Everybody's here.
Okay then. All right. So, in a little while, I'm going to tell you a story, but we just before we do that, we did our off the cuff stuff. I love saying off the cuff stuff. Don't you like saying off the cuff stuff? I think we should coin it. I think we should make that, the phrase that we say. What can we do today? What off the stuff cuff can we do today? Because I think when we are spontaneous and we do things spontaneously, it feels so good. We feel so, I don't know, energized, inspired, or whatever it is. And I think it's a really healthy thing to not be so regimented that at least once a day we can't do something that is spontaneous. And so, so we do that off the cuff stuff. So we did off the cuff stuff yesterday. Chris, can you remember what we talked about? We sort of talked about so many different things. I was a bit mind boggled by the end of it. Can you remember anything that we talked about last night?
I would just like to say it was a potpourri of questions and comments.
Oh, of course. Why didn't I think of that? Oh, yes, a potpourri. Yes, well, okay, I can see we're going to be poetic today. Do we want to be poetic today? I'm not sure that we do. You know what? Before I tell my story, before you all gather round our fire to listen to our story, as Gregor would say, why don't we have some comments and some questions or whatever it is? I know it's not the usual way to go, so I probably sort of thought you're probably all thinking, what, wait, now? Yes, but please can you, if you love me as much as you say you do, that's not fair, is it? Can you please preface your questions or your comments this morning with hashtag Rosemary Altea, please? Chris, who's there?
Well, Emilio popped on right away saying, "Hello, Rosie."
Oh, hello, Emilio. How are you?
And Eric is on.
Hi,
Uh,
darling.
and he's using the hashtag. Thank you, Eric.
Listen, Eric, before we go any further, yay! You know what that yay is about, don't you? Yay! Good for you, Eric. Anyway, that's it. That's what I'm saying to Eric. Chris.
Julia saying, "Good, beautiful morning."
It is, right?
Claire's saying hello, and Dean is saying hi all.
Hi, darling. Hi, Dean.
And Mark is reminding us.
Uh-oh. Oh, happy birthday. No. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, our dearest darling Mark. Happy birthday to you and everybody else who's having a birthday today or during the week or even next week, in case we forget to sing happy birthday to them all. Happy birthday to you, Mark. Oh,
And
what
let
were you
me
saying? Was he
and let
reminding
me
us,
and let
Chris?
me add, and many more.
Oh, thanks, Chris. You see, Mark, we're both singing to you.
Yep, he says the birthday boy is on 60 years young.
Whoa, good for you. Good for you. You know, it's a milestone, and it's I don't know why people are afraid of age. I don't know why people are afraid of getting older. I think it's a it's a badge of honor. All of these wrinkles are all just real badges of honor. I think. Um, I'm not saying that I would like more of them. Of course, I wouldn't, but still, I don't think that. Anyway, aside from which, Mark, I'm sure you've been told this before. My daughter tells me this. Okay, ready? The 60 is the new 50. 50 is the new 40. 40 is the new 30. And if you're only sort of in your 20s and 30s, you're really only a teeny tiny baby. I think people are younger. They're living younger. They're feeling younger. They're healthier. They look better. So, this is a celebration day, Mark, I think. Chris.
Cheryl saying, good, beautiful morning, everyone. Mary's kindly putting in the Rosemary Altea hashtag. Thanks
Oh,
so much.
good for you, my darling. Thank you.
Chris is saying, you look fantastic in that top.
Oh, good, good. Yes. Well, I wanted to be vibrant today. I wanted to bring good energy today, good, positive, vibrant energy today. Is it working, Chris? Do you think?
Absolutely. You look like a party.
As long as it's not. Do you remember that song? The party's over. Remember that?
I
It's
think of
time to call it a day.
I think it more of
They've burst your pretty balloon. They've taken the moon away, and so on. Oh gosh, I'm having a moment. But sorry, Chris. I behaved myself for a
that's all
little
right.
while, for a little
That's all
bit.
right. Rhonda's saying, I'm here. I'm here.
Hi, Rhonda. We're so glad you're here. Join our party. As long as we don't look like it's sort of at the end of the party, we're looking like it's the beginning of the party, right?
Yes,
Chris, right?
absolutely.
Good.
Amy's saying, good morning, all. Sandy's saying, happy birthday, Mark, and good morning, ladies.
Oh, look at that.
All right, and then it goes into let me just see
Uh,
something else.
oh.
Violet saying good morning, ladies. Claire
Good
saying
morning,
vibrant
God.
you are. Sharon saying hi. Karen saying good morning. Chris, Rosemary, and Grey Eagle party time. And
Gosh,
then we
what?
start having questions.
Hold on one second. I just want to have a word with Violet, if I may. What are you doing not at work this morning, Violet? Well, it's actually afternoon for you. And did you hear, were your ears ringing yesterday? Because I actually meant to call you and then I got a bit sidetracked. Yesterday, someone said to me, have you listened yet, Rosemary, to the webinar? Because we did the webinar with Grey Eagle, and of course, it was sort of like a trance thing going on. So I don't really know or hear too much. And my friend Mary Lou kept saying to me, please don't watch it without me. Please don't watch it without me. And so I didn't. But every time we went to watch it, we sort of, for some reason or another, we were too busy or we were too tired or something. But yesterday, all our troubles seem. I've got to stop singing. Yesterday, um,
I would say continue singing. You're such a good singer.
well, last evening, my friend Mary Lou came over. We had a really delicious dinner of something. I can't even remember what it was we had, but it was really good. And what was it actually? Oh, yes, right. Bacon and beans and potato salad and stuff like that. Anyway, and we watched it having dinner. And it's quite fascinating for me to actually watch myself. I hate seeing myself on camera, but watching myself in that trance state was actually quite interesting. And I saw some things that maybe you all perhaps even didn't notice or didn't see. Anyway, so I just wanted to let you know that. And then I thought I really need to speak to Violet, and then I got sidetracked. But what are you doing at home in the afternoon? Anyway, sorry, Chris, go ahead.
All right, you ready for questions?
Oh, that's my phone. We
You
are
said
going
you
to,
would
we're
ignore
ignoring
it.
it. That's me being lazy. I didn't turn it off. Carry on, Chris.
All right, so here's your first question.
Okay.
This is from Gianna. Dear Rosemary, I'm Gianna from Milan, Italy.
Hi.
My dear friend a year ago lost her brother Daniel, my friend. She cries every day.
Oh,
It is
darling.
very bad. Is there a message from my dead friend from Danielle? Thanks and hugs to you.
Well, first of all, he isn't dead. Let's get that clear. And Grey Eagle actually is doing this for me, has his hand on my shoulder as I'm talking to you. Uh, he is not dead. He has his wings, which means, I think, from Grey Eagle, that he has survived, that he is home, and that he is safe. So please, when you think of him, I know that it's painful when we lose someone, but please, when you think of him, will you smile and remember all of those wonderful, wonderful things that he did give to you while he was here on this earth. We're going to have one more question, Chris, and then I'm going to tell my story.
Okay. Let's see. Cheryl's asking, how do souls have the ability to influence weather after they pass? I mean, by making it rain in one spot and show rainbows.
I don't know that it's our souls. I don't know that it's our loved ones in the spirit world who can change the weather. I think it has a lot to do with energy, and it has a lot to do with that God force, or that universal God force, or that power. And I know that prayer can move mountains, and I know that collective prayer can move mountains. So I think that's perhaps what you're talking about. And if we gather together, every little tiny pulse of energy is a little tiny pulse. Every tiny thought is a little tiny pulse of energy. When you get those little tiny pulses of energy and you get them collectively, that becomes quite a major pulse of energy. And energy can affect, so it's a gathering of energy, and it's a gathering of people's thoughts, and collective thought, and the collective thought process can, and very often does, help to affect what is going on in our universe. Right. So having said that, Chris and I thought you might like to hear this story, because when I was listening to the webinar yesterday, and of course much of what Grey Eagle has said, and also the many questions that were asked, I've heard them before, and I've heard Grey Eagle's answers before. So still, when you listen, the same with everything, when you listen, even if you've heard it all before, so you hear other things, or you notice other things. And I was listening to him talking about the children who, that one of the questions was, why are some children born to this earth disabled? And he was talking about that, and he was talking about how so many of our earth angels will come to earth in this way to learn something for themselves, but also to teach us something. And if any of you wants to know more about that, there will probably be an opportunity for you either to get the transcript, or we're working on people being able to get the video. But we're working on that. So when that happens, you can read more of what he says. Or when the book comes out, Grey Eagle Speaks, when that comes out, you can hear more of what Grey Eagle has to say about those things. But as he was talking, and Grey Eagle was talking about how we as human beings, through our fear and through our uncertainties, we very often tend to look away from those children who are disabled, and not just children, but the adults who are disabled. People in a wheelchair, we tend to talk over them, to the person who's pushing the wheelchair, rather than to talk to the person in the wheelchair. And it's a very common thing, and it's a human thing, and nobody's pointing the finger and saying how awful we are or so on. But as he was talking, it reminded me, and those of you who know me well, or those of you who have read my books will know, I think it's in The Eagle and the Rose, I talk about a story about a young boy who was severely disabled, and how for quite a while I just tried to pretend that he wasn't sitting in front of me trying to get my attention. Of course, I was young at the time. Well, actually not that young, I was an adult, but I was a young adult at the time and didn't quite know how to handle this situation. And I think we've all been, or most of us anyway, have been in that situation. But um, and Chris was telling me about her fears when she was a child of occasionally being afraid of kids who were disabled. Um, and it occurred to me, and I think I was very fortunate in this. It occurred to me that I actually had, when I was growing up, I had two circumstances that enabled me to deal with these things perhaps better than most. One was that we did have a boy, a wonderful boy, who hit his garden fence met our garden fence, and he was uh, really quite severely disabled in one way. He had Down syndrome, but he could speak and he could yell, and we would yell over the garden fence. And anyway, so I sort of was a little bit used to that. But then when I was about 14 years old, I started doing a paper round, which I did until I was, I think, 16. And the lady who dished out the papers, we all had to go into the shed, which was next to the shop where the papers were sold. We had to go into the shed, and there we were, all of us. We had our bags and so on. And then the lady who would she would have certain amount of papers for this paper round and so on, and she would give out the papers to each of the kids for their paper round. And she had been severely burned when she was a younger woman, and I think it was during the war, and she was in a Jeep, and the Jeep blew up and burst into flames. And so this lady her face was severely burned. She had no ears and barely any hair, which meant that she really couldn't really cover her ears too well. Her eyes were just sort of just eyes peering out of holes in her face. Uh, uh, her nose was almost non-existent, as was her mouth. She was very severely scarred. Now you're wondering, why am I being this descriptive? Well, okay, I'm going to tell you why. So as I was 14 and used to the paper round, of course, we went there 6 days a week to pick up the papers. And so, as with anything else, once you get used to something, you don't really see. You see beyond that. You see to the person, and you're able to talk to the person without actually, sort of being that horrified. You get used to something. So, okay, fast forward. And we're going to fast forward to probably when I was in my 40s. I know some of you think I'm only in my 40s now, but it's not true. I'm a bit older, a little bit older. Anyway, it is one of those days today. Anyway, so here I am, and I'm in my 40s, and I'm looking for an outfit because I'm going to a ball. I've been invited to a very posh ball, and my daughter's going also. So I'm looking for a posh dress to go to this ball. Okay, so I'm with a friend of mine. I'm in London. We're walking down some of these side streets where there are these little boutique places. And we came across this small shop, and you had to walk down some steps into the basement to get into the shop. And the shop had so many clothes. It was really crowded. And as I walked into the shop, I noticed that there was a lady standing on some high steps in the corner of the shop. And I don't know what she was doing, but anyway, as the bell went, and I'm in the shop now, and I'm looking for her, and she turned around to say, "Hello, can I help you?" And as she turned around, her face was very, very severely burned. And because I'd had this experience when I was on my paper rounds, I was able, I think, very successfully to hide my shock. Because let me tell you, when you walk into a fancy dress shop, the last thing you expect to see is something like this. Because, and especially in our age, everything is about makeup and everything is about modeling and everything is about the hair, the right hair products and the right hair color and the right lipsticks and let's, you know, the right clothes and everything that we do is, you know, we see these magazines, we see these beautiful people on television. And I think I said yesterday, you know, also when I was in my 40s, you know, there were people who were saying, well, she's too old for a television show. This is in my 40s. Everything is about being young and beautiful, and everything is about so much, not everything, but so much is about how we look. And, you know, and people making judgments on the way that we look. And we all, I think we all know that. And it's really not a great thing, is it? Because when we're looking to be beautiful or we're striving for ourselves to be beautiful, this is where a lot of our anxiety comes from. And this is where a lot of our self-worth disappears down the drain, because we're not like those beautiful people we see out and about. We look at ourselves and we often see ourselves as less rather than looking within ourselves to see more. But anyway, so here we are in this story, and this lady turns around, and fortunately for me, I had this experience when I was a paper girl. I was a paper girl for about 2.5 years, and every week, 6 days a week, I would come across this lady. And it's such an odd thing, I have to tell you, because as I'm talking about this, I'd forgotten, as I was telling Chris earlier, I'd forgotten her name. And Grail has just reminded me that her name is Nancy. And I'm sure Nancy's long since passed to the spirit world. But if you're out there, Nancy, anywhere listening, she was such a lovely person inside. So here I am, and I'm in this shop, and this lady turns around, and I'm absolutely certain that she was used to the recoiling. She was used to the horror on people's faces. She was used to the embarrassment of people not knowing how to deal with it. I'm sure that there were times she was used to people just turning around and walking out of the store. I stood there. I don't know what my friend was doing. I don't like to think what my friend was doing, because within seconds she turned her back. My friend had turned her back and was pretending to look through the clothes and so on and so forth. And I stood there and I smiled and I said, oh, hello, I'm looking for a dress. And I think for a moment she was the one in a little bit of shock, because I didn't even blink. Because to me, it was not about what she looked like. But here I am telling you the story of what she looked like. And it's when I listened to Grey Eagle yesterday, and he was talking about these disabled children, he used the words crippled, crooked, twisted. He made me smile, because he said all of those words that you in your humanness do not like to use to describe these children who are crooked, twisted, you know, severely, very often severely deformed physically, never mind emotionally and mentally. And we are so afraid of using these words, and I suppose they're not politically correct anymore. We all have to be so proper about things. But we need to, I think, look at things as they are and not see the ugliness in them, but to see the beauty in them. This lady came down from the steps and she kept looking at me, and she kept looking me right in the eye, and I kept looking her right back in the eye. And I thought, I just wanted to know that I see her. I'm not looking at the scars. I'm just looking at a lady who's trying to sell me a dress, or hopefully going to sell me a dress. And in fact, she did sell me a great dress, and she really worked hard finding things for me. And we had a really great time, and we chatted, and we had a nice time together. My friend was somewhere else in the store, not engaging, not anywhere near us. Um, and I get it. In our humanness, we can be so afraid of things that aren't, let's see, normal. I hate to use that word. Don't you hate to use that word? And what is normal anyway? And who determines what is normal? In Victorian times, when you saw a skinny woman, she was completely considered to be unattractive, because, you know, if the plumper you were, the rounder you were as a woman, the more money you must have, because you were obviously well fed. And the Victorians found that an attractive trait. So if you were short and plump and round, nowadays, if you're short and plump and round, people often are telling you, you know, you'd look better if you lost some weight. Does it matter? Apparently it does, because our world makes it matter. But I think we should be on a mission, all of us, to say, whether you are short, fat, thin, whether you are crooked, whether you are twisted, whether you are burned, scarred, or whatever it is that you are is not who you are. Who you are is what is going on inside. And, you know, so many of us, we wear our scars, the scars of life, the pains, the hurts, we try to hide, don't we? Because often the pains that are in us, within us, the scars that are inside of us are much, much worse, much more severe, much more twisted, much more ugly. And I think it's because that's the way we see them. But I want us to all be warriors, and I want us to sort of proudly own our scars. My grandson, at one point in his young life, was tracing the scars on my body, and I have an amazing scar. It goes all the way from my back to my front. It goes from the upper high under the shoulder blade to all the way down and around to my front. And don't think that it's just one scar, because it isn't. It's two scars, which the cut was run side by side. So it means it's wider. When I was, you know, younger and it mattered, I would, you know, try not to wear a bikini because it didn't want to show. And even so, even with the bathing suit, it still peeks out the top. And you can still see it if you really look, you know, if you're looking, if you're on a beach and so on. Now I don't care. Now I wear it with pride. It's a scar. It shows the life that I have lived, like the wrinkles. It shows the life that I have lived. And I wish that we didn't judge on all of those beauty magazines and all of that perfect makeup and perfect hair stuff. I wish we didn't live that way. But I just wanted to point out to all of you that if you come across somebody in a wheelchair, if you come across somebody who is disabled in any way, crooked or twisted or whatever, as long as they are not crooked in the mind, as long as they are not twisted in the mind, as long as they are not cruel and mean in the mind, which means twisted and crooked, as long as they are good people, I think that, you know, I'd like you to sort of think about what I'm saying, and don't be afraid to reach down into the wheelchair and say hello to somebody. Don't talk to the person who's pushing the wheelchair. Talk to the person in the wheelchair. Don't talk to the child who can't walk and can't talk. Don't talk to them as if they don't understand you, because they do. And there's a great story in The Eagle and the Rose about David, who recounted to me, even though when he was on this side, on this earth, even though he couldn't talk, he couldn't walk, he couldn't hear, he couldn't see, he was born that way. Nevertheless, his parents talked to him all the time. Nevertheless, they told him every single day, several times a day, that they loved him. And when he finally made it over to the spirit world and he came through to talk to his mother, he was very clear about it. I heard everything. I heard everything he said. I saw everything he did. Just because we are physically not able to see doesn't mean that on a spiritual level we can't see everything. The spirit world sees all. But those of us who cannot express ourselves because we are so disabled in so many ways doesn't mean that we can't see, because our spirit, our soul soars beyond our physical body and tells us many things. I just thought you'd like to hear that story, Chris.
Well, that you need to take a pause after that one. It's a
I
lot
do.
of, well, I think those of us listening do. You know, it's
Okay.
very powerful what you just
Take a
said.
breath. Take a breath. Well, this is when you listen to Grey Eagle, and those of you who were at that webinar, I everybody kept writing in, and everybody who was at the seminar had something to say. People were emotional. People learned things. People were inspired by things, and it is so gratifying, both to me and to Grey Eagle, that we are able to inspire sometimes, and to help people to understand that it's okay to be fearful, and surely enough it's okay to be human. I mean, God dropped us in this on this planet, right? We are human with our human faults and failings, and as Grey Eagle tells us, we they don't want us to be perfect. Strive to be perfect. You're not ever going to be perfect. So many people strive to be for that perfection in their look. So many people strive for perfection in their in their education, or they strive for perfection as mothers or fathers. Trust me, you're going to fail at that one. I can tell you now. We all as parents know that we're going to fail at that one. But as Greg pointed out, if we were perfect, well, we wouldn't need to be here, would we? So nobody is expecting us to be perfect, but yet we can be perfect, but yet still beautiful. Again, as Greg will tell us. Is that enough of a pause or a break, Chris?
Yes. Cheryl says, I was badly burned in 2010. I tend to not think about it until I go out in public. Sometimes people will ask me what happened, and hold on, that just scrolled. Ask me what happened, and that doesn't bother me. My scars are my rebirth in a spiritual sense, and I always appreciate the fact that the event happened to me to change my inner self.
Oh, Cheryl, thank you so much for sharing that. That's really, really nice of you, and good for you. And it is true that my scars. Nobody would know if I walked down the street. You would never know that I was missing bits and pieces in my body. You would never know that my back is slightly lopsided because I'm missing a rib. Can you imagine a surgeon sort of digging in there and sawing out the rib and hauling out the kidney and putting plastic bits here and there? And I bet they had a great time. If I'm walking down the street, you'll never know. You never know. But still, the scars are there, the emotional scars are there. But for those who, as you have shared with us, my darling, for those who have those very visible scars, it is, I want to educate people into saying, and I'm glad you said what you said, because when somebody says to you what happened, at least they're acknowledging you, and they're acknowledging that something happened to you, and they're interested enough to want to know more about it. Sometimes it's just purely curiosity, but at least they've noticed you, and they've noticed that you might have a story to tell, and they're interested in hearing your story. And I think that we should all be much, much more aware of the fact that every single person on this planet has a story to tell, some more painful than others, but all of us have a story to tell. And we should never ignore those who have obvious and deep, deep, and often deeply painful stories to tell.
Okay, the next one is from Sharon. She says, incredible story and message. We should focus on the soul, not the shell. Thank you, Rosemary.
What we should and shouldn't do, though, right? I mean, we all fail, don't we? We all fail, myself included, fail miserably sometimes. Chris, let's keep going.
Mark says, sometimes I think we are kindred because you shared this story about disabilities as I see them whole, regardless of what their bodies look like. I tend to look at them in the eye and smile, and that is one of God's way of allowing us to communicate love.
Oh, Mark, I so agree. Happy birthday to you. You're having a nice birthday, Mark. Happy birthday to you. Keep going, Chris.
So I'm gonna read you 2 more from Mark since it is his birthday.
Well, yes,
Um,
absolutely.
I took the next 2 days off to celebrate me and had medical tests this morning and grateful to Doesn't My Birthday Morning with You All, and I love your singing. And then hold on, I gotta scroll back to where Mark had it. Um, love you, Rosemary. Thanks for singing, and Gray Eagle too. Does my family have a message or G?
Well, you know that I'm going to say happy birthday because that is the message from them to you. But Greg is telling me also to tell you how very proud he is of you. I'm asking, does he mean him, Grey Eagle? And he's laughing and he says, your angel is very proud of you, Mark. So you're obviously doing something right. Keep going, Chris.
Okay. Sharon says, my boss has been a bully for years. I'm
Oh,
reaching the end of my rope with her. Everyone is asking me to file a formal grievance against her. Would appreciate any advice. Thank you.
um, there are many ways of bullying, and there are many ways of standing up to a bully. So it depends. It depends really on you, and it depends on what you can cope with. Have you tried uh, talking to her? Have you tried just having a conversation, simply saying, I would like to talk to you, and I would like to tell you that if this bullying continues, I'm going to report you, but I'd rather not. I'd rather we just had a good relationship. Have you tried that? Have you tried ignoring her? It's hard when it's your boss, isn't it? Have you tried simply smiling and saying to her, I really would appreciate it if you spoke to me respectfully. So please, from now on, will you do so? I think it would so shock her that she might just stop. Bullies are like this. The more they get away with it and the more you don't speak up, the more they do it. It depends how bad this bullying is, and you might want to file a complaint. Um, you know, and if other people see it too, they will be on board with you and support you in this complaint, probably. But I think that, you see, I I can't tell you to do what I would do, because what I would do is I would have nipped it in the bud straight away. I would have said, please speak respectfully to me. I'm happy to do what you want me to do, and I understand you're my boss, and I'm glad for that. But please do not speak to me disrespectfully again. I won't put up with it. I won't tolerate it. I don't know. It depends how far it's gone. So if you feel it's gone too far, or if you're afraid to say something, which is okay, it's understandable that you're afraid. Bullies really just have that horrible effect on us, don't they? They make us feel less. Nobody should feel less. So you can stand up to her on your own and say, I do not appreciate the way you speak to me, and I would like from now on for you to speak to me respectfully. If she retaliates and starts yelling at you, you can report her then. Or if you feel that you can't say that, go ahead and report her. If it were me, I would say to her, I'm just giving you a heads up because I'm going to report you for your bullying because I've had enough. You might think that that gives her an opportunity to get her side in first, but my suspicion is that your bosses know exactly what she's like. They know exactly what she does, but you probably got a boss above her who's willing to keep the peace because it's easier. So it's a difficult call, my lovely. It's a difficult call. Do what it is that you feel that you can do within your own heart. But here is my real piece of advice. Stop doing nothing. Don't do nothing because it just gets worse. Keeping the peace for the sake of peace brings long-term misery, and that's what you've done. You've kept the peace. You've put up with it. You've allowed it to run roughshod over you, and it's bringing nothing but long-term misery. Need to nip that in the bud. Chris.
Gianna says, I close my eyes and I would love to hug my mammy, Philomena, and my brother, Julio. Can you do it? Thank you.
Is it Julio or Julio? I have a feeling. Anyway, it's fine.
Giu. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Doesn't matter really, does it? What's in the name anyway? No, I will not do this for you, my darling, but I will help you do it. Okay, close your eyes right now. All of you out there who have someone who you want to hug, who you want to come into your life right now, that one or that many close people in your family that you want to hug, you're going to do this with me now, because we're all going to do this. And I and Chris, we're going to send you our energy and we're going to help you as much as we can. So let's just do this for 2 seconds. Mark, are you ready? Mark, this is your birthday gift. This is a gift to all of us. Grey Eagle is smiling. Okay, we're going to hold on to Grey Eagle. We're going to smile. We're going to close our eyes and just visual. Oh gosh, I can feel them already. Just visualize them coming around you. My lovely ones are coming around me, but just visualize the energy. Visualize them coming around you. It isn't we who are giving them a hug. It is us who are giving. It is them who are giving us a hug. Yeah, it's not us giving them a hug. It's them giving us a hug. But we can hug right back just by feeling, just by sensing, just allowing that energy to flow. Let's have just a few minutes of quiet, a few seconds of quiet here while we just do that. And letting go. And taking a step back. And breathe. Come on, everyone. Breathe. Breathe and breathe. And there they are. My hands are tingling. My fingers are tingling. Boy, oh boy, let's give them every bit of help we can give to them, just because we love them so. So feel them closing around you and hugging you. And breathe. And whoof, and that's all you need. And you can do this, every one of you can do this for your own selves. There we go. How you doing, Chris?
Very good. Definitely felt the energy. Miriam says, I was just watching you on the other channel, and here you are again. You had great legs on the Lisa show. Someone mentioned that yesterday.
Yeah, well, I do have really great legs. I still have great legs. They're really long and they go all the way up to my bottom. What can I say? Yeah, thank you for that. Yes, yes. I used to wear mini skirts and yeah. Yes. Okay.
Sandy says, please don't ever stop singing. Music is the most beautiful part of life.
Isn't it though? Oh gosh, Sandy, I so agree with you. I actually don't think, even if someone stuffed something in my mouth, I don't think I would ever stop singing, because my heart sings, my soul sings, I sing in my head. So it's yeah, I'm definitely um, definitely a musical person. I remember years ago, I lived next door to a lovely lady, and during the summertime we used to, this is in England, we used to have our doors open and our windows open and so on. And I have this need sometimes to just depending on the mood I'm in, I'll sing opera, I'll sing, sometimes I'll sing some favorite hymns, the hymns that I used to sing with my Auntie Loseby years ago. And sometimes I'll sing, who knows what I'll sing. Sometimes I make things up and sing. And I can remember one day years ago, my neighbor sort of came over for something or another, and she said, oh, Rosemary, she said, I heard you singing this morning. I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I should, next time I'll make sure the windows in the kitchen are shut. She said, don't you dare. We love listening to you singing. It's just a joyful thing to do, isn't it? And someone once said to me, everybody can sing. And even if you're out of tune, don't let that stop you. I mean, why would you let it stop you just because somebody else says you can't sing? Doesn't mean that you can't sing. Just saying. Chris.
Violet responded from earlier.
Yeah.
She
Uh-oh.
says, I'm on a late lunch. You're getting me into a bother. Shh.
I'll be quiet. I'll be quiet, Violet. I promise I will. I'll be.
Gia the model says, Rosemary, what message does Spirit have for me?
Gia the model. Why would you come to me like that? We just talked about everybody having to be perfect, everybody needing to be perfect. So my message to you would be, you're probably very beautiful or not, doesn't really matter as long as you're beautiful inside. So that's my message to you. Work on the inside. And that's the message I'm giving out to everybody today. Work on your smile, work on the beauty from, so we want the beauty to shine from within us, don't we? We want to just share. I'm going to be sharing with my neighbors in a little while because my poor neighbor yesterday, she only arrived here a couple of days ago. She came for her keys, and fortunately I had them handy, but I left her standing on the doorstep outside, which is not me at all because anybody comes into my house. And I had to say, we're working, because we were recording yesterday. So I now have to go and apologize and say, I'm so sorry for leaving you standing on the doorstep. But I should do it with a smile, and I know she'll be fine because she is a beautiful person inside and out. Chris.
Miriam says, I tried this question yesterday.
Uh-oh.
Can Rosemary make also connection to other life forms like aliens? I mean, Chris, don't skip my question, please.
Miriam, why would you ask this question again when it's the same answers that I gave you yesterday? I don't really know too much about that. That is not my area of expertise. Um, I'm not by any means discounting the possibility that there are other life forms on this planet. It would be so arrogant of us, wouldn't it, as human beings, to suppose that we are the only life force? I mean, come on. How arrogant could we be? Oh, wait, we are, as humans, quite often arrogant, aren't we? So I don't doubt in my own mind the real possibility of other life forms, whether you call them aliens or little green men or whatever it is you want to call them. But I'm not an expert in the connecting of them or with them. I'm busy dealing with those who are from this earth plane, our earth cluster, our soul cluster. And that is where my expertise lies, and that is where my interest also lies. So, Miriam, I love you. We love the question. If you ask this same question again, I'm going to give Chris instructions to skip it. So stop asking it. I've answered you twice now. You are lovely for asking, and I applaud your determination. But enough now with that question, Chris.
All right. Naya's asking, or she says, he or she says, hello, can I
Hi,
ask what
darling.
you see in my career in 2 years?
Well, here's what I'm going to suggest that you do. You can actually join our webinar on the 26th of June, where we will be connecting with our loved ones in the spirit world. And you may or may not get a message there, but you will hopefully be given an opportunity to ask a question. And if that's the question you want to ask, fair enough. You can keep trying and asking the question, but we really don't, these are complex questions. If you want me to give you a quick, I can tell. Oh, your career is going to be amazing in 2 years' time. There you go. Is that a good enough answer for you? Is that a good enough answer for your question? Is it true? I don't know. I can make it up for you. I can make it sound really good for you, but I'm not going to, my darling, because this is a question that's important to you. It's important to your future. So you can either book a consultation, whether it's with me or with somebody else, and get a proper accounting and talk to people in the spirit world who can help you and guide you, not in a 2 minute situation. Or you can, you know, go to our webinar. Tickets for the webinar, by the way, are what are they? $65. I'm trying to think. They're $65. It's a 3 hour webinar. It's worth every single penny, I think, because Grey Eagle and I will be there giving messages to quite a lot of you who join, and those of you who don't get a message. Boy, oh boy, will you see how it works, and you see what you need to be looking for when you go to see someone like myself for a message, because the messages are very, very clear and very precise, and so on and so forth. It's Chris.
Betta's on saying, tomorrow my husband and I will get vaccinated against COVID.
Oh,
I'm anxious because an acquaintance of ours did it a month ago and died immediately after the injection. Can you say something to us?
um, Better, I can't tell you to get it and I can't tell you not to get it. And we hear all of these horror stories all of the time. I heard a horror story the other day. I think it's there are different kinds of shots, so just make sure you get the one with the least amount of effects and after effects. I think we're all concerned about it. My understanding is that the majority of people in my country have already had the shots and are the majority doing really well. I do really want you to remember that you can't die before it's your time. Are you sure that it was the COVID shot that caused this? I'm not going to say that it was or it wasn't, but you cannot go before your time. So maybe, maybe it was simply your friend's time to pass. Uh, Everybody has a choice. Better, I don't think you're going to poppy clogs anytime soon. That means that's a Yorkshire term. It means I don't think you're going to die anytime soon, but it's your choice at the end of the day, and I will not be responsible for making your choices for you. Chris.
Carmen's on saying, good
Morning, Carmen.
morning. I lost my best friend in February. I miss him a lot. Can you tell me if he really loved me and if he left this world being happy with me?
Um, well, I wouldn't normally do this, but apparently Grey Eagle thinks that you need this. So here we go. So this is from Grey Eagle to you. You mentioned that he was your friend, but it's actually much more than that. I do believe that you had a very, very special connection. In some ways, it was a, I'm not going to say love hate relationship because it wasn't that, but I think that there were times when you were more connected and then you'd move away, then you came back and you were more connected, and it's almost as if you just couldn't stay away from each other. And I think that he was very, very connected to you. Happiness is, who knows what happiness means? It means different things to different people. But there was no doubt that his choice was to be with you, and there was no doubt. There's apparently, according to Grey Eagle, there is no doubt. And according to this lovely man I'm looking at right now, he's got beautiful, sparkly eyes. Had he to do it all over again, he would choose again, and it would be you that he would choose. Chris.
Cheryl says that hug exercise made me want to cry in a good way.
Well, good. I'm glad. You can do that, every day. You can do it yourselves every day. All you have to do is sit quietly, visualize your loved ones in the spirit world, visualize them drawing close to you, because they will, and you will feel it. If you do it often enough, you will feel them, and it will be real, and you will feel them crowding around you, gathering around you, holding you, and giving you their energy, and you can reciprocate. Chris.
Cheryl, not Cheryl, Claire says, it felt right hugging my loved ones.
I'm glad. Of course it did, Claire. Of course. Felt right for me too, I have to say.
And Mark says, I felt them all and tears welled in my eyes, and I thank you for this greatest gift.
Well, it's your
Eric
birthday, Mark. We had to do something nice, right?
and Eric says, wonderful hugs. Let
Yes.
let's see. Roxanne is on. I
Okay.
tuned in time for the hug. I have been
Oh,
so
good.
sad. Thank you for that.
Oh, you're very welcome, Roxanne. Don't be sad. Don't be sad. You need to smile and know that he's with you. Chris.
Let's see. Miriam says, don't you dear, you also looked like a supermodel, able to wear the mini skirts all the time, which looked awesome. And I had asked the question again because I didn't get an answer.
Oh, darling. Well, I think we did answer you. But anyway, now you have it. And thank you for that. Yeah, well, um, again, I'm going to say we can all look beautiful on the outside if we work at it, if we try, depending on how much money we want to spend and how many surgeries we want to go through and so on. And I'm sort of fairly natural all over here. Um, I don't even dye my hair. Well, going to have to do soon, aren't I? Because there are some wispy grey bits around. My daughter, every time she cuts my hair, she says to me, "Mum, a few more grey in there." Uh, but anyway, um, I think that we should be much more concerned about, what we're feeling inside, how we're feeling inside, who we are inside, and how much joy sparkles from our eyes. You know that they say the eyes are the mirror to the soul. So if you look in the mirror and you see your eyes and they are sparkling and beautiful and joyful, great. And if they're not, do something about it. How about that?
That's great. There are no more comments, Rosemary. I know you wanted to mention the bottom brick exercise and volunteers and people wanting to be bottom brickers.
Yes, we've got a new phrase. I love the fact that we've got this new phrase. We are bottom brickers. We've got volunteers. We have volunteers who are bottom brickers. We are looking for more volunteers because we've had so much response from people loving the exercise. So here's the thing. We are uh, doing consultations now for those of you who want to do the bottom brick exercise but who don't want to do it publicly. So we have different ideas of consultations. We have a spiritual consultation, which is purely and simply talking to those in the spirit world and connecting with our loved ones in the spirit world and hoping for their help and guidance. We also have what is called, it makes me smile every time I say it, but anyway, we call it a life what did we call
Force.
it, Chris?
Life
A
force.
live consultation. Anyway, which means that if you've got issues, if you're a business and you need help with your business, or if you're building a property and something's not quite right, or you're unsure of what's going on with it, we can help with that. There's so many different life issues that go on with us. If you want to go back to school, if you want to change your job, who knows what it is that you want to do. But we do have consultations which focus completely and absolutely on certain instances. And I do have a lot of businesses, a lot of business people, a lot of politicians. We have a lot of people who come to me for all sorts of reasons. Anyway, but we also have a bottom brick consultation that you can do this privately with me. And if you want to do the bottom brick exercise with me, or any of the consults with me, you email Chris, Kris, Chris at rosemaryaltea.com. You put in your subject line consultation, and that way then you can, sort of, we can tell you what we do and how we do it. Or alternately, you can go to our website and you can see it all there. Um, but we also, if you want to do the bottom brick exercise and you'd like me to do it for you for free, it means volunteering. It means actually daring to be in the public eye. I will be gentle with you. I will be careful with you. I promise you I will hold your hand, as I always do. We have had 4 bottom brickers, right, Chris, so far? Is it 4 or 5? People who have come on the show and very, very bravely actually done this for us. And you can see, if you go to YouTube, you can find that. You can see all of our shows. In fact, if you go to YouTube, you can see all of our shows. Don't forget to hashtag Rosemary Altea. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to ring that little bell or ding that little bell if you want to be, if you want to join us on our journey. So the bottom brickers, if you want to volunteer, what you do is you volunteer and you write to Chris, again, Chris, Kris, at rosemaryaltea.com. And you write her and just sort of say briefly why you think you might qualify for a bottom brick exercise. And we will, take you into consideration. We already have some volunteers. We'll be doing this probably about once a month. We'll be doing this in the public forum, but again, if you prefer to do this privately, then you just then you can do that also. And again, just email us and let us know. All right, we shall be back here. We might even be back later today. I don't know. Well, let's do an off the cuff, possibly. You never know what's going to happen with us. So we might be doing an off the cuff. We will definitely not be doing anything tomorrow because Chris, I think she's being extraordinarily selfish here. Chris has asked for a weekend off. I mean, really, she's not really getting a weekend off, but tomorrow she's, I know, traveling and going around and seeing her family. She's ditched me, everybody. She's ditching me tomorrow, which means that we won't be doing too much tomorrow, but on Saturday morning we'll be back. So she's really not having a weekend off, is she? So Saturday morning we'll be back with our story time, and I shall be telling you a story. You'll be having the opportunity to ask questions again, or to make comments again, or to tell us your stories if you have them. Again, we may or we may not, no promises, but it's likely that maybe, who knows, this afternoon, maybe this evening, who knows when we might do an off the cuff, because that's what off the cuff is, when we feel like it. Anyway, so we'll be doing all sorts of things. Again, go to the website, rosemaryaltea.com. If you subscribe, it means that you get our newsletter once a month, which tells you all about what we're doing, and it makes you an insider. You will have insider information before anybody else does. How about that? And don't forget, again, if you want to book for our webinar on the 26th of June, it's a Saturday morning, we'll be doing a 3-hour seminar, webinar, should I say, same thing. And if you want to do that, we only take so many people. So if you want to do it, you better book now to do that. Mark, as it's your birthday, if you'd like to have a free ticket, I'll give you a free ticket. Happy birthday to you, Mark. Happy birthday to you, Mark. Anyway, let Chris know. Email Chris and let her know that that's what I just did for you for your birthday. And you don't have to take it, but it's there for you if you'd like it. Anyway, other than that, until I see you all again, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. I'd like to say thank you to Chris, because you're amazing. Even though you're letting me down tomorrow, what can I say? This is our British humour at play. Don't worry, all of you thinking, oh, she's being really mean to Chris. No, this is our British humour, right, Chris? Anyway, and I would like especially to say thank you to Grey Eagle for all he does also. Until I see you all again, please, everyone out there, have a very, very, very blessed rest of the day. Bye-bye.